All right. Well, I'll get her kicked off. Just by way of introduction, I'm Eric Hopt. I'm the chair of the University Challenge Committee. So, working on a lot of the behind the scenes things that go into making this competition so great. So, just a couple things to note to start. Just a tremendous thank you to Graco and John for allowing us to use the site and providing us with kind of a wealth of information for the students to use. Um, so tremendously grateful for that. A couple things to note, and you all probably saw it in the site packets, but changing kind of the purchase price in the site packet to make this more of a guidance number. So we really want you all to put some thought into, hey, here's how we determined our purchase price versus just giving you, here's the set purchase price to use in your modeling. And I know we had one team last year, I think it was Marquette, who did this prior, and constructive feedback from a lot of people was it'd be a good thing to add to the competition, just one more level of analysis and detail just to think through. Next thing to note, I do have, and we will be able to hopefully offer a tour for the students of the site. We're working with Jordan, who is also on the listing team, and they are trying to come up with a date or two that we could send out to all the professors and say, here's the opportunity to tour the site. So we're going to try and get as many of, or a time that works best for most of you. They aren't, or let me just say that they want to do tours, but it's tricky to do a lot of tours. It's a secure facility, it's a larger facility. So they're going to try and offer one tour block. So we'll get back to you with some more information on that here shortly. And then just kind of order of events. So I'll pass the torch off to John here shortly. He'll give a brief introduction on the site, and just cursory overview on kind of some thoughts. And then we'll pause for just a minute, and then we'll pass it off to Andrew at the city of Minneapolis. So without further ado, I'll do a quick intro for John, who is the practice leader at Cushman Wakefield Real Estate Development Advisory Practice. He helps community and real estate owners align real estate assets with operating and investment strategies, and he's had more than a 35-year career in the real estate industry. He's also heavily involved in ULI, and he's been a tremendous part behind the scenes in getting this competition set up and ready for you this year. So without further ado, John, I'll pass it off to you, and feel free to take control and share your screen or anything you want to.
Great, thank you. Well, good afternoon. This is oh, here's the share button. I'm not used to Zoom. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, good. This will be a fun project for all of you. It's a great project to stretch your critical thinking capabilities. There's a very wide range of potential outcomes here, and imagine that we'll see a wide variety of ideas. My practice is working on projects like this that are, for whatever reason, out of sync either with the owner's needs or with what the market would consider to be highest and best use. Graco has operated on this site for almost 100 years. It's been a very, very successful business that has simply outgrown the site and ended up with scattered facilities. One of the challenges with a site like this, it's a wonderful location. For those of you who don't know the Twin Cities, this is northeast Minneapolis. It's directly across the river from our central business district. And you can see in this image the skyline, and can imagine, you know, the value of those views. There's a park just immediately to the south of the site on the river, and that's now connected to the Graco Park, which is just on the north side of the bridge that you see in the center of the image. And the Grand Rounds, which is part of our very extensive trail system, uh, comes through the site along the river. So there's both pedestrian and bicycle access. The neighborhood is a wonderful neighborhood. It's a historic neighborhood that had a mix of every kind of use you can imagine. It's along the river was originally all industrial. This site is zoned for heavy industrial. I think that, and I'm not going to speak for the city since you'll have an opportunity to hear from them, but I think it's probably a good guess that if they had known that Graco was going to vacate the site, they might have guided it for something different. But one of the things you'll need to factor in is that a change of use from industrial will require both rezoning and an amendment to the comprehensive plan. Um, we have five facilities on the site. This is what we call the Riverside plant, still in operation. And in the materials, this office building is referred to as the ROC, the Riverside Office Center. Both are in excellent condition and are currently in use. Um, let's see. Here's another view that gives you a little bit more of a view of northeast Minneapolis. You can see immediately to the east of the site across Marshall is pure residential with a couple of 5/1 multifamily buildings immediately adjacent to the site. And less than a mile to the south is a very robust commercial district that is walkable and has a whole mix of uses, including a grocery store and several restaurants and lots of high quality housing. This gives you a little bit more of a picture of what's to the east of the site, which is historic, kind of mixed neighborhood with a combination of single family homes, duplexes, and apartment buildings. And this view is looking north along the river. There are all three of the primary roads that surround the site are truck routes, and you can see they connect up with I-94. So it's a pretty good site for distribution within the city. He's very much in the center of the metropolitan area and has terrific access to the roads. Here you can see the Graco Park and that indistinct tree line that runs right through here. If you can see my cursor, is the property line. So this grassy area is part of the site. And then this is the Graco Park, which is now connected to this entire trail system through a tunnel under the roadway here. One thing to pay attention to is that there are several city streets. I'm going to shift gears here. Well, I'll come back to that. I don't want to test my skills with Zoom. But here you can see that we've got 11th Avenue. I'm sorry, 11th is over here. It comes in on the north side of the tech center, which is where Graco currently has its corporate headquarters. It's an interesting building. It also contains a lot of lab space where engineers worked. We call this building the annex. It's not currently being used, but it's a very serviceable building in good condition. And then the site also contains this kind of barrel dome ceiling that we refer to as Battery City. Both of these parcels were purchased really to protect the site and to provide for potential expansion before long before Graco made the decision to consolidate all of their operations up in the north. Here you can see some of the city streets that run through the site. Um, you should definitely think about those and as you're planning the site because the city owns them. Any modification to those streets would require city approval. So, we have 5 buildings, each a little bit different, some excess land. So there's development capacity within the site. And this is looking straight west across the top of the site. So here you see the roof of the tech center, 11th Avenue coming in from Marshall. The ROC and the Riverside plant, you can just see the edge of the annex here. Let me fix this. Just wanted to share with you, I think you have this plan in your package, but we find it helpful as we're evaluating different uses to break the site down into these 11 blocks. And it just helps us all know kind of what we're talking about. Marshall Avenue is going to be completely renovated over the next 2 summers. And you can see there are a couple of things that will impact the site. There's going to be a median that will make the 11th Avenue, which is a primary access point to the site, right in, right out only. And so the circulation down to 9th and 8th Avenues will be very important. And just to give you a sense of the zoning in the area, you can see it's really the only site in the immediate area that is zoned for heavy industrial. I'm gonna defer conversations about future zoning and use to the city so that you can hear from them what they think. But I think I'll pause here because you have so much information in your packages and save some time to talk and answer questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Um, we'll now switch gears. We'll hear from Andrew. So, by way of introduction, Andrew is the principal city planner with the city of Minneapolis, where he has worked since 2014. His primary role is development review, staffing the planning commission, working with development teams to help them advance projects that comply with the city's zoning, ordinances, and land use policies. And without further ado, Andrew, please take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Is my screen showing up for everyone here?
Yes.
Great. Great. Thanks. Um, Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you all today. I'm really excited to see where you all go with this. So I wanted to talk briefly about how our land use policy and zoning code are organized and how they apply to this site and sort of what the city sees as the opportunities here. Like John mentioned, John covered a lot of what I have to say, and I agree with everything that he shared. This is a really unique opportunity in Minneapolis. This is a large site that has been under the control of one user for a really long time, and has a lot of history and it has a lot of development capacity. And it's pretty unique to see a site of this scale in such a central location. Like John mentioned, this site today is zoned for industrial use. It's in our PR2 district. which is a medium intensity industrial district. And from the city's perspective, that district exists to support the retention and growth of industrial jobs, right? Jobs centered around production and distribution. And so, like John mentioned, the reason why this site is PR2 today is to support the retention and growth of those jobs associated with Graco. And so, with the potential transition of this site, I think we have an opportunity to potentially rethink that. The city would like to see industrial and production jobs retained here. We would like to see this remain an employment center. But there is obviously additional land here and opportunity for other uses to move in here. Um, so when we look at land use policy in Minneapolis and our zoning code, there are sort of three categories of zoning districts. We have our comprehensive plan, which is our adopted land use policy, and for every site in the city, we designate both a future land use as well as a built form designation, and those then inform the zoning of the site. So this site is entirely in the production and processing future land use designation, and in the corridor for built form designation. As we look at this site moving forward, I think you have a lot of flexibility with how you might want to move forward with this. Included in the packet here is this exhibit that ESG had prepared, and John had brought up here, that looks at the existing zoning for each site as well as some proposed rezonings. And in general, I think what ESG had looked at here is pretty much in line with what the city would be supportive of. I think that we would like to see the portion of the site located closest to the river and the interior of the site remain jobs focused and be an employment center. Well, the portion of the site located closest to Marshall, has the opportunity to transition to accommodate other uses, likely primarily housing, but also the opportunity for mixed use. So as you look at proposals here, I think I would just like to express that, the city would be supportive as you get east of Ramsey here, of comprehensive plan amendments or rezonings here to either the production mixed use district or to the urban neighborhood future land use designation. And then as you get up closer to the intersection of Broadway and Marshall, potentially to a commercial mixed use designation there. CM2 would likely be appropriate there, and a development that incorporates some ground floor commercial with residential above could be appropriate. Another thing to consider here is the built form, so the height. Today, this site is entirely in the corridor 4 built form designation. That allows for a 4-story building by right, up to 6 stories with premiums. And for most of the site, I think that probably is the right designation. But I would just note up here as you get towards that intersection of Broadway and Marshall, from our perspective, I think that's where there's the most opportunity for growth. And I think we would be supportive of an increase to the built form designation there to corridor 6, if that was something that you were interested in pursuing. One other thing that I would mention is that this site is affected by a few overlay districts. One of those is the MRCA, the Mississippi River Critical Corridor. And that extends into the site as far as Ramsey Street. So the 2 blocks that are closest to the river are in that MRCA district. And that is a little bit more strict when it comes to height. So I think in general, I would recommend planning to comply with that 56-foot height limit for the portion of the site that's in the Merca. And then as you look at that block between Ramsey and Marshall, recognizing that additional height could be appropriate there. And then the last overlay district that I would mention is that portions of this site are located in the floodplain overlay district. So some parts of the site closest to the river are impacted by flooding from the river. And so that's detailed in one of the attachments in the packet, and I would encourage you to take a close look at that. And I think that's about all I have to cover, but I'm happy to go over more information if anyone would like.
Yeah, I have a quick
Perfect.
question. Quick, you said that it allows for a 4-story, but you said up to 6 stories with a premium. Could you define what that premium means?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that our built form districts are set up is they allow for a by right height, and that aligns with the name of the district, right? So corridor 4 allows for 4 stories by right. Corridor 6 allows for 6 stories by right. We then have a system of premiums or bonuses where you can seek a height increase by achieving certain standards that advance certain city goals. So you can seek a height increase. Just some examples are affordable housing. So there's a set of standards for affordable housing. If a project is meeting those standards and providing affordable housing, it's eligible for a height increase. There's an environmental sustainability standard. There are standards related to providing a grocery store or childcare. There's a standard related to construction type. So those are administrative height bonuses that are available under our ordinance.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll open it up. Anybody else have questions for John or Andrew?
I do have one question that maybe John could answer. Earlier you said that Graco has outgrown the site. I was curious if that's mostly just because of employee count or if there's any specific blocks within the site whose use has been outgrown specifically.
Yeah, no, the entire business has just grown. The production facilities no longer fit in the Riverside plant, and the entire they've been growing the business in the northwest suburban area for some time, and it's gotten to the point where 3/4 of their employees were in Dayton and Ramsey, in the northwestern Twin Cities, and they are a company that very much like to have their leadership, their production, their engineering and design all together. They believe that that's a really important part of their culture and their operating strategy.
Thank you.
Another question. As it relates to the finances of the building, would the city of Minneapolis be open to giving TIF money in terms of development at all?
In general, the city uses TIF regularly to support affordable housing projects that are going really above and beyond with their affordability level as a gap financing tool for affordable housing. The city of Minneapolis does not typically use TIF for any other type of project.
Thank you.
Just curious, if you don't mind commenting on the 100-year floodplain district. Are there any plans for pushing that back towards the river through dikes or anything like that? Or is there long-range plans for that?
Great question. Not to my knowledge. I know Public Works is very interested in flood mitigation projects in this area. I think in general, though, the interest in flood mitigation here is more in regard to proper drainage for um, large rainfall events rather than dealing with regional flooding caused by the river. I think in general, our perspective is that given the Mississippi River Gorge and the system of locks and dams, the 100-year regional flood is something that is pretty unlikely to occur. And so I don't think that the city is not working on any projects to mitigate that right now. Public Works is very interested in improvements to the stormwater infrastructure in this area, though. And I think that's something that I don't know whether this project is going to get into that level of detail, but a large scale project on this site, would need to do stormwater management as part of that project. And Public Works would be very interested in collaborating and making improvements that would help with stormwater management for this neighborhood as a whole.
I can tell you that operationally, the flooding has not ever been an issue. It would be the case that if the Riverside plant came down, it could not be rebuilt in its present form and still conform with the current regulations. But we don't perceive that to be a meaningful threat. And we agree, stormwater runoff is really the issue.
Just as a follow-up, then, you're saying what you just said, John, is that if the building was to come down, it could not be built in the same form. In other words, that we would then be reverted back to the 100-year floodplain lines?
I think Andrew could answer that better than I could.
Yes, the current building is non-conforming to the floodplain ordinance. It can continue to be used. It can be improved. But if you were to be looking at a redevelopment of the portion of the site where the primary plant is, the Riverside plant, the existing grading on that site does not comply with the floodplain ordinance. So you would be looking at some significant grading to truly ground up redevelop that portion of the site.
No.
And I would tell you that building is in very, very good condition and is in active use. We think it's very unlikely that building would cease to be used for some form of industrial use.
What would be our best way of getting in touch with the city, like for follow-up conversations, if we have some after the initial meeting here?
I would encourage you to send me an email. I'm happy to take any questions via email and help as much as I can.
Just as a reference, Andrew is listed as an expert in the site packet, so his contact information has been provided to you all.
Okay. What fixtures will be included in the sale of the property in like any building specific?
Did you hear that okay?
Yeah, we heard it. So what is the question? What fixtures?
Yeah, is there like anything that's like sitting there that will be included in the sale of the property?
No, for the purposes of this competition, just assume that the buildings are delivered fully vacant. So there's no personal property or furniture and fixtures in them. Did that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
In regards of like public transportation, I know the city is like wanting to improve like their public transportation overall. Is there plans of like improving that or like implementing like more public transportation in that area where Graco is located?
That's a great question. The my recommendation would be to take a look. So Metro. So this. Let me back up. The city of Minneapolis does not operate public transportation. Metro Transit operates is the transit provider in the city of Minneapolis, and they are a service provided by the Metropolitan Council. So they are responsible for transportation service planning. They did recently adopt a new service plan, and I believe it's for 2026 through 2029. I believe it's called Network Next. It was just adopted at the end of last year, and that includes increased frequency on a lot of their core routes. Um, and I don't recall off the top of my head whether the routes that serve this site have increased frequency there, but my recommendation for looking at planned changes in transit service here would be to reference the new service plan from Metro Transit. I can say that there are not any major planned capital transit projects adjacent to this site. I believe the nearest one would be over on Central Avenue.
Yeah, I'll just add to it too that you can look at the maps, but Broadway and Marshall are both bus routes. So the site is completely surrounded by different bus routes.
I know you guys said that Graco is looking to consolidate. Is there any businesses or companies in that direct area of the neighborhood who would love to get their hands on Graco's property and do that same thing and kind of take over that Graco industry site themselves that you know about just off the top of your heads?
It looks like John might have dropped off, but um, I can tell you that it's maybe a possibility, but I'd say you can look at it as one of the outcomes as you're looking at various highest and best use cases for the site.
No, go ahead.
Do you want us to just assume the property's in good condition as far as like the roof and everything inside of it?
Yes, assume it's in good condition. All right. Any other questions?
Do you know when we'll hear about potential tour dates?
You'll hear about them hopefully in the next week. We're working with the listing team just to hopefully get the dates coordinated. It just takes a little bit. And then, of course, Graco, the end user for the site, said, how many students and what do we need? Because it is a secure facility. So we're working on that. My estimate is we'll probably have something out to you before the end of next week. But stay tuned for an update from us.
All right, thanks.
All right. Any final questions before we turn off the Zoom?
Thank you for organizing this again, NIOP. We appreciate it. At least as faculty, I appreciate the competition. Just get that trophy ready for the University of Minnesota. Just saying, okay?
Noted. All right. Well, I'll post the video of this meeting online, send you guys a link, and then we have one minor update to the site packet with a phone number for one of the experts. So I will send that out either later today or tomorrow. And then we'll be in touch about the tour time, as Eric was saying as well.
Thank you, Steph.
All right. Any last questions?
Oh, we do have one.
Okay.
Well, is the warehouse made with fireproof steel? Do you know?
What's the question?
The interior of the walls, is it constructed, and also the concrete floor, is it made with reinforced fireproof steel?
I don't know. That would be a question for Jordan. So Jordan is listed as one of the experts. He is also on the listing team. You can either consult him or check the Dropbox we have the OM that they've put out, and that might have more information and pictures.
Thank you.
Are we able to get access to those pictures that you saw?
Did you guys have one last question? I didn't catch, I don't think I didn't catch that. Eric, did you?
No, we're good.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
Thank you.